Welcome back on the Dronsfield Dross DB Swallow 12-inch hand mower. So last video, a bit of a disaster. Yeah, I broke the gear that goes on the end of the cutting cylinder. So trying to get it apart. There's bearings inside, and obviously I wanted to get the thing apart. So that was last week. Hope you can all hear me. Since then, I've had a look at the cutting cylinder and trying to work out how to get it apart. Had some good comments, very good comments, and right on the money as well. Not that obvious, I must say, but anyway, I've got it apart without doing any more damage. That's a bonus. So it's quite a complicated setup, nicely engineered, but if you've not taken one of these apart before, a bit like me, you very easily get caught out with it. But anyway, I'm going to, well, it's just you and me again. I'm going to zoom you in. We're going to have a good look at the cutting cylinder, see what you think, and yes, you can see how it all goes. Anyway, let's get you zoomed in. Good. Right. So, right. Good. So. Yeah, so anyway, the gear, not sprocket, gear, that I was trying to get off the end of the shaft, I thought possibly might have been screwed onto the shaft. Obviously wasn't, and then I put some pullers on it and the thing broke. But luckily I managed to get the broken piece out of the cutting cylinder which was in there, and it's come out in one piece. I had some good comments and suggestions on making a collar. So that might happen. I haven't really decided, or possibly try and repair it. But I need to do something because no chance of getting anything like that. So I need to do something. So one way or the other. So that's the gear that came off the end of the cutting cylinder. Now it's quite sneaky because there's pins all over the place on this cutting cylinder. And what we saw last week is the shaft was in the cutting cylinder, and you could see the little pin there. And anyway, I thought, well, maybe there's another hole in this blade spiral boss here to knock that little pin out. And then I thought, well, we'll get the shaft out like that. But, and I was, say, possibly going to drill a hole if I couldn't see one and try and knock it out. But I'm quite glad I didn't, because it wouldn't have come out anyway. If we look behind it, a bit sneaky, look at that. You see there's another pin there. So it's just not designed to be knocked out in situ. So anyway, yeah, I had a look at it, and let's turn it round, and then we'll be able to see it a bit better. So what we had is on the end of the cutting cylinder, we had this little boss bit that locates in the side frame. But again, there was a sneaky little pin that goes through. Again, not very obvious. And if we look at the shaft, we can see, hopefully you can see there's a little hole cut out for this to go through. So I knocked that out, and obviously that came off, but it didn't stop there. So obviously it still wouldn't come apart. So I thought there's got to be some more pins or something. Anyway, there was another pin, and let's have a look. One more sneaky pin that goes through there, if you can see it, There's the other side of it. And then it goes through this little boss part, which is, I've got it out now, but it's obviously flush with the cylinder. Knock that out, and then this comes out, and then after then you can get your shaft out. And obviously the shaft, I knocked it out that way. Luckily there wasn't too much paint on the shaft and it did knock out quite easily. That bearing's been left in there, obviously that's going to come out, but sort of hear how rough that is. I've got a feeling it's something like an RL or an E4. I think they're very narrow bearings. They're obviously Imperial, but E4 or something like that. They're available, but they're not that cheap, but available. But be good to do both of them. But you can see it's quite a setup, really. It's very well engineered. As I say, normally cutting cylinders are not like that in most mowers. That, you know, the shaft is fixed and then you've got your bearings on the end. But I suppose because it's a quick release cylinder, you can take it out, which is a good idea without stripping the whole machine. They've come up with their version, but nicely engineered nevertheless. 2 bearings and lots of pins. So if I ever do another one, hopefully I'll learn from my mistake. But anyway, it was nice not to do any more damage. So it's really just the sprocket I've got to repair. And once I've replaced the bearings, hopefully it'll be super smooth. And eventually we'll sharpen it up as well. Really looked at the bottom blade, but I think it's probably, let's have a zoom you in on the bottom blade. We'll have a look what that's like. I've got a feeling we're going to have to put a bottom blade on it because yeah, I think it's probably going to want a bottom blade. It's got very thin, and it looks like it probably was a lipped bottom blade, so I'm going to have to put a bottom blade on it, but that doesn't worry me too much. Sure we can get something for that. And I've since the last video I've been soaking the blade carrier. As you can see, I've cleaned it up a little bit, but it's still seized up, so I may put a little bit of heat on both of those to get the blade carrier off that shaft. Another little thing I noticed about this mower, again, it screams quality. It's got a little an eccentric nut, which you don't often see, which is holding the shaft that holds the blade carrier. So the idea of that is obviously if when you set the cylinder down, which the adjustment is done on the centre. I'm just trying to, let's go and have a look. If I try and find the adjuster, let's have a look. There we are. So if I lay that down, that's the adjuster. So obviously that pushes the bottom blade into the cylinder. But I suppose in the case of this, which, well, you could have it with any mower, if the wear is uneven or something, you know, you could find yourself with the cylinder touching one side, not the other. But that little eccentric nut, which is another nice bit of engineering, I guess it means you can balance it up, you know, so you can set it so you can get the cylinder touching both sides. When you've got an independent adjustment on the cylinder, you know, you wouldn't need that, but I suppose when it's in the center like that, something like that just means you can set your cylinder nicely. It's another good bit of engineering. So what else have I been doing? I've been cleaning things up a little bit. I've got obviously cleaned this side up. We're going to probably get that sandblasted with the rest of it, and going back to bearings, I was looking at the roller shaft, and obviously there is bearings on the roller shaft, and let's put that in. We've got on the roller shaft, you've got that little cone-shaped collar and lock nuts that obviously go through the side there and then through the bearing. And again, not a bearing I've seen before, so I've knocked the bearing out, or one of them, and I thought it was just like a sort of a seal and then a bearing. But if you look at this bearing, it's obviously it's obviously a tapered type bearing, and obviously when you tighten the nuts up, it tightens up. But it's a bit like a push bike bearing inside, but it looks like a complete thing, so it doesn't come apart. So I'm glad I didn't really damage that too much. But hopefully cleaning it up, give it a good clean up, thoroughly grease it, I can reuse that. And there is another one. Let's turn this one up. I haven't got that one out yet, but there is another one in that side. So we've got two of those to deal with. So yeah, it's not many mowers have adjustable roller bearings. Again, it's screaming quality. So yeah, we've got that. I've cleaned the grease, or most of the grease, off the rollers. Turn them over, and I did mark them because they are handed, obviously. As you can see, if I scan them over, that's the right hand one, that's the left hand. We get those mixed up, it ain't cutting grass. And the roller shaft, the carrier for the pulls, clean that up. So yeah, done a little bit of cleaning and got the cutting cylinder apart. So there's a bit of progress made on that. And what else would I? Oh yeah, I've cleaned and checked the gears. So that one's the intermediate gear, and there's, as you can see, there's nearly no wear on that at all. Looks in good shape. Clean the little oil hole out as well. So there's that one, and then we've got one for the roller. Again, that's the same deal. All looks good. So, and the cutting cylinder one that I broke, the teeth were good on that one. So if I can repair it, then there's a good set of gears going back on it. So yeah, we're getting there. So anyway, yeah, right, let's get you back over here. Steady. Good. So just really a quick update, really. A few things going on, bit of progress, which was nice. Again, thanks for all the comments. Does all help. Yeah, I'm going to get some of it off to the sandblasters fairly soon. Try and get stuck into that sprocket. And then obviously I've got to try and get the blade carrier off that shaft. So we are getting there. We're getting there. But it's been an interesting mower to do. It's quite unlike a lot of mowers that I've stripped down before. I mean, it does. It screams quality. No expense spared. But hopefully it will be a nice mower when it's all done. Anyway, yeah, I'm going to knock this video on the head. Hope you found it interesting. The cutting cylinder certainly was. It certainly makes you think, doesn't it? Yeah, very complicated. But anyway, well engineered, as I said. So there you go. Another video on the 12-inch Dronsfield Bros DB Swallow hand mower. So till the next video, and thanks for watching.